happens is literally in life, this is what stops most people from being successful. One of the things is that they would rather be comfortable than do what's required. Anytime you do something different, it's uncomfortable by its very nature.
That makes me tougher. That makes me harder, mentally and physically. It gives me much more than I give it. I want to struggle.
Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's next week, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 10 years from now. But everything that you decide to do today is going to have an impact on you in the future.
Make this moment the moment of truth about yourself. Many of you have been selling yourself short all of your life. You have that opportunity to experience more environmental, physical, and mental abundance. Someone who is in a constant state of elevation, their self-talk is, I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and I know where I came from. I want to continue the conversation of self-awareness. You know there are a few quotes that I love, I want to share with you as it pertains to the conversation of self-awareness. And the quote is, there is definitely a direct connection between finding your passion and reaching your potential. You will never fulfill your destiny.
Now, most of you remember learning to drive a car. You were probably awkward. You forgot to hit the clutch when you hit the brake. But after a couple months, you're there driving with your knee. You got a Big Mac in your left hand. You're breaking up a fight in the backseat with the kids with your right hand. No big deal. But you have to be willing to go through that awkward, uncomfortable stage. And most people, unfortunately, won't do that. So they get locked in what we call their comfort zone. So what I want you to do is to realize that life is an experiment. You have lots of responses that are possible. And I'm going to teach you some of those new ones, perhaps, that you can apply to your success. So there's three kinds of responses. Number one is your behavior, what you do and say out loud. Number two is your thoughts. Number three is the images you hold in your head. Those are the only three things you have any control over in your life. What you say and do, the thoughts you think, and the imageries that you hold inside your head.
I want to grind and claw and scratch, and I want to dig in, and I want to push. And I don't want it to end. If I ever got the rock to the top of the mountain and it stayed there, I'd push it back down myself. I don't want to rest, and I don't want to coast, and I want to reach a point in my life where I say, that's it. I've done enough. I'm not going to give anymore. I'm not going to push anymore. That relentless cycle of day-to-day challenges.
So what happens here is when you say, I can't, when you lie, when you focus on your failures instead of your successes, and when you surround yourself with people who are judgmental rather than encouraging and empowering, it actually has a physical effect on you. So that's how powerful thoughts are. We see that our thoughts affect us and other people's thoughts affect us. So we have to be very careful where we place ourselves and who we hang out with and who we surround ourselves with. So partly here, we've just done this thing. This is called a kinesiology demonstration. Kinesiology is a fancy term for muscle testing, all right? And one of the principles here is you have to eliminate the phrase, I can't, from your vocabulary. I can't, I wish I were able to, I'll try. Those are all ways of saying I'm not capable. And they're very insidious, and it's part of our culture. I actually teach people to wear a rubber band, and if they say something negative about themselves, they just snap themselves when they're aware of it. Not like to really hurt yourself, but just to raise your awareness. In my company, if anyone says I can't or we're not able to, we can't get that done by Friday,
they aren't maddening to me. They don't frustrate me. They inspire me. Inspire me to drive and push more and to push harder. That's what that rock does to me. So I say, dig in and get to pushing.
Because we are talking about war, there's still tragedy and loss and darkness there. And that's okay. And to you vets out there, if you're having one of those dark days, it's okay.
Times have changed. The learners are going to inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. But you know, there's a lot of people out in the street like that. They think they're learned. There's no such thing as a learned individual. You're either learning or you're not. There's no such thing as an educated person. You say, well, now, where are you going with that? Well, education comes from the Latin educo, to mean to deduce, to develop, or to draw from within. Education isn't something you fill up and put a cap on. Hoffer also said to learn, you need a certain degree of confidence. Not too much and not too little. If you have too little confidence, you'll think you can't learn. If you have too much confidence, you'll think you don't have to learn.
There's no better pathway to self-realization and the ennoblement of being than to posit the highest good that you can conceive of and commit yourself to it. And then you might also ask yourself, and this is definitely worth asking, is do you really have anything better to do? And if you don't, well, why would you do anything else? I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something, because almost everything, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important.
Go back to the drawing board. Go back to the business. Go back to the relationship. Go back to the burning building. You have unfinished business. All you got to do is show up with a new game plan and a new perspective. You got unfinished business.
You have unfinished business. You got work to do. What happens when your perspective, your perception diametrically opposes your reality? If you are going to give and grow and evolve and attain and become, everything rises and falls on your viewpoint. Perspective is everything. Let's go. I need you to hear me loud and clear. How you see this thing is everything. You cannot change the past, but you can change your perspective about it.
You know, unfortunately, I think we all fall into this category, both these categories, all too often. There's times when we just don't think we could get it. And there's other times we don't think we need it. The truth is, we have infinite potential. There is no one alive that can even guess at what we're capable of doing. Now, I have found the only way to improve our level of understanding is through study. There is no other way. You see, to deal with change in our fast-moving world, you must develop your higher faculties. Einstein put it very well. He said, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is an obedient servant. He said, we have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift.
Who do you have to unbecome to become the person you truly need to be? I had to unbecome being a disc jockey. I had to learn how to use my voice in a different way.
Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it. Get off. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them. You've never done something before. You expect yourself to be awesome at it. You haven't done the work. You haven't put in the time. You haven't put in the study hours. You haven't had the experience. But you expect to be good, and because you expect to be good, but you know you're not going to be good, you don't do anything you want to be.
Your viewpoint is your advantage. Your viewpoint is what changes the game. Everybody wants increase and abundance and lifestyle change and new zip codes and new area codes, but you only read once a week and you only work out once or twice a month. And so the reason why you don't have what it is that you see, the reason why what's in your head is not in your hands, it's not your reality, it's because your perspective opposes your potential.